kitchen where she's cooking up a storm. No good brother-in-law.
As a singer, songwriter and recording artist, Russell Morris performed some of Australia's greatest tunes, including Wings of an Eagle, Sweet Sweet Love and The Real Thing. He's a master of reinvention, a gifted songwriter, and continues touring the country to sell out audiences. Let's welcome Russell Morris. Hi Russell.
Hi Jack.
Thanks for coming down.
At Jack's place, fantastic. It's good to be here.
Indeed. You've been a major player in the Australian music scene for over 50 years. How does one survive so long in the Australian music industry?
I think you've just got to keep moving so no one really gets a true beat on you. I talk to a lot of people about this, like artists who have been, and a lot of artists are always terrified of being found out as being a fake, because you feel like you're faking it sometimes. Like you expect someone to come out of the audience and go, I know you, you're a fake. It's like, huh? So you tend to reinvent yourself. You tend to do it to your best of your ability, but you can never tell what the public's going to want. And the problem is things have changed so much in the radio scene that you can't get airplay these days. So you've got to think of new ways to get your songs heard across. I was fortunate with the blues stuff that the ABC embraced it. But you can't keep doing the one thing forever, or otherwise you become passé. People get bored.
The Australiana Trilogy albums changed your songwriting process from fictional to real-life situations and characters.
Yes, and I really enjoyed the process, and that came about by accident because I was going to do a blues album anyway, because I'd had 30 years of non-success on radio or album selling, and I thought, go back to the well, go back to what I really believed in. What did I start doing? What made me love music? And it was the Rolling Stones' very first album, which was blues and rhythm and blues. And the young band I was in, we used to play all that sort of stuff and Tamla Motown stuff. And I thought, I'll go back and visit the well and drink out of that well again. And while I was there, accidentally I tripped over a tree root, and it happened to be a newspaper clipping which was Thomas Archer, Sharkmouth. And I thought, I'll write a song about this guy because he was so interesting. Once I'd written that song, a neon sign went off in my head and said, everyone writes country songs about Australiana, but not a lot of people do blues songs. And I thought, I'm going to do a blues album about Australian characters and gangsters and that sort of thing. And that's how that came about. I remember Jim Keys ringing me up and saying, come round and have a listen to this track. And he played me the track. And I said, I love it. And I said, wow, that's fantastic. And I said, who's that? He said, have a guess. I said, I don't know, some Delta blues guy. He said, no, it's Steve Romick. And I said, he said, that's Steve Romick. And it did inspire me. I thought, I loved his approach. So when I did the album, I got Steve to sing on a number of tracks because he's got that great, he can go gravelly to really high singing sweet harmonies.
Some of the subject matter on the Trilogy albums include gangland wars, economic depression, a way of life in Australia's Indigenous people. Those songs addressed past times, and yet we watch the news and it appears nothing much has changed.
No, nothing much has changed, I guess. The first album, which was Urban, which was about the gangland in Richmond, because I went to Richmond Tech, which was a pretty scary school, and my grandmother would tell me stories about when she was a young girl and she'd walk up Bridge Road and see, standing on the opposite corner, Squizzy Taylor with all these gangsters, and all those stories have been going in and out of my head over the years. And they just came out on that album. And then the next album, I decided to make it a bigger picture. And I thought, what started us here? Well, the prison ships and the wars and things. So that was a bigger production album with a lot more electric guitar. Then the third one, I had to include the people that have been here for 60,000 years. I figure, they deserve more of a mention than us. So I included a number of stories about Indigenous heroes such as Pemaway and Bennelong.
God loves a sinner. Who's the sinner?
The sinner is probably me, yeah, and I've often heard that statement, God loves a sinner, because the church loves to redeem people. If they redeem them, they're saved twice as much. So I thought maybe me, but I'm not really religious, so it was just a statement.
You scored 14 chart hits, including 2 number ones, The Real Thing and Part 3 Into Paper Walls. Let's talk about some of those songs. Brian Wilson's Method, Obsession and Complete Disregard for Budgets draws comparisons to Ian Meldrum's Obsession, Method and Complete Disregard for Budgets when he produced your signature tune, The Real Thing. Did you spend any studio time with Ian after the vocal sessions, and did you expect the record to turn out as dramatic as it did?
Well, I remember our first performance, Ian Meldrum happened to be there, and he was a roadie for a band called The Group. And he came up to us and said, "Can I manage your band? Can I produce your records? And can I get you a record deal?" And like, we all went, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." You know, imagine doing that today. You'd go, "Well, what have you done?" Never knowing that the guy would turn out to be the best record producer. He was astounding, and he is the total architect of The Real Thing. Without him, it never would have been anything like it was. It was originally supposed to be 3.5 minutes. The band played over and went into a jam, and he said to the engineer, "I'll just let it go, we'll fade it." Then later on, he had the idea that he would make it 6.5 minutes, which we all thought he was crazy. He was very, very creative with his choices, and the budgets would run out and go crazy because he didn't know really what he wanted. Ian had no idea, so he would go in and hope for the best. And it could take a long time till someone stumbled upon something he liked. And that was the reason I think his production career came to an end, because record companies were too scared to use him.
Johnny Young wrote The Real Thing. How different was the version Johnny played to you from the version that we all know and love?
The reason Johnny came to me with the song is because I'd put it out that we were looking for songs, because I didn't have the confidence to write my own stuff. And Johnny approached us at Channel 10, which was up in Nunawading, with some songs, and he played us 4 songs, and we'd already recorded 2, and I'd said to Ian, "Listen, John Farnham could record this, Normie Rowe could record it, Ronnie Burns, a number of artists, and it'd be just in their repertoire." I said, "Ian, we've got to do something that's right out there, left of field." And to give Ian his credit and due, he said, "You're right." So this particular day, Johnny played us 4 songs, which were very much solo artist songs. He said, "I've got this song that I wrote. It's sort of almost a joke. It's for a rock and roll band. A solo artist couldn't possibly do it." And we said, "Well, play it." And he played it, and Ian and I both went, "That's the song." And he went, "Are you crazy?" He said, "No solo artist would do that." And I said, "Precisely why we're going to do it." And that's how that came about, yeah.
Was there a particular bowel loosening moment that you recall during those recording sessions?
I think probably, yeah, there was one moment, 2 moments. When Roger Hicks came in, and we didn't have the intro down at that stage, and he was a classical guitar player, and Roger took it home and came up with the intro and walked in and sat down and played it, and we went, "Wow, that's pretty special." And the other one was at the end, when the songs are running, engineers can isolate tracks by pressing a button and putting it out, or bringing it in, putting it out. And he wanted to hear what the piano was sounding like. So he put his fingers on all the mute buttons and he pressed them right at the moment where the piano goes, and we all went, "Wow!" And we said, "That's got to stay in." So that stayed in. Yeah, they were the 2 moments that we thought, "Wow, this is great."
What inspired you to write Wings of an Eagle?
I'd been reading stories about eagles and their significance in legends, and I'm a big fan of Italian history, and I was reading about Indigenous tribes here, and also Red Indians. And I'd met someone up in the Northern Territory, Mary, who was an elder, and she told me about a legend how an eagle takes your spirit to Dreamtime. The Romans believed that emperors' spirits were taken to the gods on the back of an eagle, and so did the Red Indians, and it was running through my head. And EMI rang me up and said, "We've got to have another single. What are you doing? Write another single." And I went, "Oh." So I walked out, sat on the porch, picked up my guitar and started strumming, and the first 2 verses just came straight out. non-stop. And I got to the end, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought, oh, what'll I do with that? So I thought, I'll go inside. So I went inside and I thought, oh, what's the midday movie? So I opened up the TV guide. I'm reading the midday movie, and it was Wings of the Eagles, John Wayne. And I thought, that's a title. So I didn't watch the movie. I went back out and wrote that chorus.
On the wings of eager farmers who lifted through the skies, lifting up above the world to sing. On the wings of eager farmers who lifted through the skies, lifting up above the world to sing. Can you see me? Can you see me?
If Daryl and Jim were here, how would they characterise Russell Morris?
I don't know. Well, Jim and I were very, very close. We would talk every day on the phone, and he would say, oh, I'm a silly old idiot. But we really adored each other. Daryl and I have been friends for years, so I'd be really interested to see what they'd say if I wasn't here.
In 2008, Midnight Oil drummer Rob Hurst inducted you into the ARIA Hall of Fame. How did it feel being honoured in front of your peers?
It was great, but I think the highlight of the night, which is quite ironical and very funny, is Rolf Harris was also inducted. It was nice to be... That was one of the galvanising moments that made me do a new album.
So damn tired, right down to the bone. I've got the devils running through my head. Work all week till I'm dead on my feet. And I go back, I do it again. I don't want to hear that phone, so somebody kill that light. My pillow is my destination, and my dreams are taking flight. Unless the full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight. Unless the full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight. Politicians, television, having to say I didn't understand a word that they said. A little of this and a whole lot of that, words to ricochet around my head. This modern world, it can bring you down, and sometimes I lose that fight. So I close the door and I pull the shades, and I turn myself up tight. This full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight. Unless the full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight. Roll with the punches, so they say. Well, I roll with the punches, and now I'm back on my feet, dead on my feet again. I don't want to hear that phone, so somebody kill that light. My pillow is my destination, and my dreams are taking flight. Unless the full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight. Unless the full moon is calling, please don't wake me tonight.
What song would you sing in a karaoke bar?
End of the Innocence.
What would you have been in another life?
I would have liked to have been a astrophysicist or an archaeologist.
Would you have recorded Sadie the Cleaning Lady?
I remember sitting and talking with John once, and he said, we've been incredibly lucky. He said, a magic song comes along once in your lifetime. He said, I've been lucky. He said, I've had two. I've had that and I've had You're the Voice.
And what's your favourite after-gig food?
A glass of wine to finish with, or a coffee.
Russell Morris, it's been a pleasure.
Jack,
Thanks for coming to Jack's Place.
Thanks, mate.
I'm keeping my distance. I'm staying my